Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now September 1st of 2021, and ever since the very end of The Bad Batch Season 1, a lot of fans are very curious about Season 2 and exactly what that's going to bring to the entire fandom by Disney and Lucasfilm, and what they really have in store for other TV shows that are set to be announced by this November. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, if you guys would like to go ahead and check me out at Mike01 on Twitter, you guys can go ahead and do so if you would like to. Now, we're in a very interesting phase right now, as I always like to say, because this is now the month of September. We're getting closer to October. Keep in mind, guys, next month is when we're going to get that Book of Boba Fett trailer. So we're finally going to be able to see exactly what the vision of Robert Rodriguez, Dave Filoni, and Jon Favreau all together is really going to look like. I do suggest that prior to watching the Book of Boba, that you guys go ahead and check out Robert Rodriguez's work, such as Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Desperado. Those are probably his top twos, to be quite honest. But moving on to all of this, when we actually go ahead and examine what's been going on between Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, they are working around the clock. I mean, these guys are dedicated to really making things work by bringing Star Wars Legends back into the mix, and also making it clear that the entire Star Wars fandom is going to be very much satisfied with new Star Wars content, of course. Now, we got new TV shows, we got new movies, new Star Wars lore, of course. We're talking about the books, the novels, and the comics on the side. A lot of things are going to tie together to make up this new expanded universe. So with that being said, of course, what's really intriguing all has to do with actress Daisy Ridley, alright? We all know who Daisy Ridley is. She starred in episodes 7 through 9, and there's been a lot that's been going on behind the scenes for quite a long time now between herself, Kathleen Kennedy, and others over at Lucasfilm. So, with that being said, with both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni currently working hard on the Book of Boba Fett and The Mandalorian Season 3, they are also beginning to develop the Ahsoka Tano series starring Rosario Dawson. Now, one of the main stars in the sequel trilogy, Daisy Ridley, has been talking more and more about her experience behind the scenes with Lucasfilm. However, it's described recently there has been some tension between Daisy Ridley and Lucasfilm as a company. Ridley went on to reveal that in a recent interview that she had many struggles with many of those over at Lucasfilm at times, and especially with Kathleen Kennedy. Daisy made it clear that she had agreed with Kathleen Kennedy herself that many of her deleted scenes from Episode 9 would be transferred over to a Blu-ray edition of the film by early 2020, which ended up not being the case. So, you guys may recall, I believe it was April of 2020 when the Blu-ray of Episode 9 dropped. No deleted scenes, nothing. So these were the scenes that George Lucas was heavily involved with that included a number of scenarios, such as more dark Rey sequences, in-depth scenes of herself fighting Emperor Palpatine, and so much more, that was filmed that never made the final cut, that Daisy spent weeks training for that went to waste. Now, Daisy Ridley actually tried bringing these issues up with J.J. Abrams, which surprisingly caused Abrams to have conversations with Kathleen Kennedy about releasing the deleted scenes for Episode 9's Blu-ray. However, Kathleen Kennedy refused to do any of this and wanted nothing to do with releasing Daisy's footage, even after they initially agreed to do this. On top of all of this, Daisy Ridley was supposed to star in a live-action Episode 9 sequel TV series for Disney+, which she was let go from by Kathleen Kennedy in early 2020. This is most likely why Daisy actually came off as very frustrated in her interviews from March to April of 2020, when she was talking more about Episode 9 right around when the Blu-ray dropped and the sequel trilogy's end. Although an animated sequel series of Episode 9 is still in the works, Daisy is still actually hard at work on trying to make things right behind the scenes, and is said to still, unfortunately, not be attached. This created a problem between Daisy and Kennedy for a long time, and why Daisy took a step back from Star Wars, and that it had nothing to do with a disinterest in the franchise. John Boyega, similar scenario, felt the same way about his character Finn, and how Disney treated the character poorly. However, there have been conversations of course, resurrecting that Episode 9 sequel series that would focus more on Finn to make up for the mistakes of the character in the sequel movies. Daisy Ridley also is actually set to have a major cameo in a live-action series that takes place after Episode 9 that was actually thankfully initiated by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, that in 2023, Daisy is set to have a cameo similar to Luke's in Mando Season 2. It's also best described that Daisy had problems with some of those associated over at Lucasfilm, convincing Kennedy to cut out her scenes entirely from the Blu-ray, let alone any deleted scenes for Episode 9 at all. So, I want to actually dive into this because there are some things that I think a lot of fans need to know. Number one is that this Episode 9 sequel series in live-action form, it was actually well into production. You guys may recall that Kathleen Kennedy even talked about this in a very vague way. She said, on Disney Plus, we're going to go through the adventures of Rey, Finn, and Poe again. And she just said it very brief in one of her interviews. That was it. She didn't really talk much about it. But that's what she was alluding to. And that pretty much got dismantled in early 2020. After Ridley went away, John Boyega and Oscar Isaac wanted nothing to do with it and parted ways. Now what they're trying to do is that they're trying to resurrect that series and make it mainly focus on Finn to kind of make up for their mistakes of mistreating the character, not only how they marketed him in Episode 7, but also how he was just used in The Last Jedi, and how they could have done so much more in Episode 9. So, going back to Daisy Ridley, this is a very interesting development because Daisy's been talking more and more about her experience behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm and working on Star Wars. This is exactly why Daisy took a major step back. She didn't want to deal with the Kathleen Kennedy nonsense anymore. Now, we've talked about this before, that she was actually set to have so many different sequences of Dark Rey and scenes fighting Palpatine and so much more like that alongside Ben Solo. We talked about this months and months ago, of those particular scenes. Even Ian McDiarmid confirmed this, that there was so much Palpatine footage that there was more than to handle. And to think that they didn't even want to include any of that on the Blu-ray, it just goes to show you that it's pretty much vivid at this point that Kathleen Kennedy wanted to hide this contrast showing what was done and what could have been done. She basically was trying to hide what could have been in order to make Episode 9's image remain, if you will. So, overall, I think that Daisy Ridley made the right choice. I think that she made a good choice by keeping her distance away from Lucasfilm, at least for a while. She's getting a cameo in this unannounced TV show that is going to be unveiled at Star Wars Celebration next year. And that, to me, I think is the most exciting aspect, is that they're trying to fix Rey, Jon Favreau, and Dave Filoni. They're going to give her a major cameo, similar to Luke Skywalker and how he was used in Mando Season 2. So, like I say, guys, I think that they're really trying hard to bring back those hardcore fans and to bring back those fans that have been with the Star Wars franchise for decades. So, like I say, guys, I would like to hear everything that you have to say about Daisy Ridley's situation and what you think about Kathleen Kennedy, what you think about John and Dave resurrecting Star Wars and rebuilding things from the ground up. Let me know what you think about all of that, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.